Calls mount for women and girls to speak out against sexual abuse. Gender activist Busa Bantu says women and men who have been sexually violated need to understand it's never their fault.
When you have been raped, and even if the court finds the person guilty, that's a 4-year process that a lot of young women have to go through. So imagine you've gone through this trauma of being sexually violated, and then you have to deal with your community first and foremost shaming you or doubt, because I think that's what women and young men who do deal with sexual violence face first. Doubt. Oh no, it was your fault. What were you wearing? What did you say to invite him? So then you have that community structure, and then you get to a judicial structure where you're thinking to yourself, do I want to put myself through this for 4 years? Do I want to be triggered constantly? And obviously with the Me Too movement, we're seeing that the media is actually, it's a catch-22, because the media can assassinate victims, or it can be a platform that victims can use to be heard and to make it uncomfortable for sexual predators to be in the workspace. So there are resources, but it's definitely, it needs to be beefed up. I don't think it helps us to isolate men from our feminist movement. We need them, like Natalie was saying, and you're saying, we need them as a part of this. We're a community, and that's why we feel disappointed by our institutes, because they have made the silence is the tool that's helped sexual predators keep their jobs. If in a church you abuse a child and then you just get moved to a different district, that child is traumatized and violated, but you still have your job. You can still hurt people. And I think that these institutes, these traditional institutes, whether it's churches, whether it's government, whether it's our home, because our home is an institute, need to look at how we're teaching our young boys to look at themselves and look at women. And across the board, we just need to start having a conversation where we're taking a collective responsibility for the crisis in masculinity, but also pointing out that it is men who are being violent to other men too, and men who are being violent to womanhood. So I try not to separate, because I am a true feminist. I try not to separate men from the dialogue. I think the hashtag men are trash is a response to the violence, and it's warranted. But I think that if men who are also lost in this dialogue and are trying to figure out how to help and how to be our ally, closing the door in their face is not going to help. And you need to stand by a woman when she says she's been violated. And if she says she was just tapped on the bum, that's not a small thing. Stand by her, and maybe that will start changing the culture. Our young girls just need to know that, like you said, it is a reality. There is a rape culture that exists, but that they shouldn't carry that responsibility. However they dress, however they carry themselves, that's not the problem. The problem is in a sexual predator thinking that he can do that to you. And it's shifting that education where young girls are taught to be safe in the streets, but it's not something that we should keep teaching them to believe is their fault. And that's been our problem, I think, for so long, is that we as women are made to feel like we caused this. Oh, you wore a miniskirt. And I don't want to tell my future daughters that they have to dress a certain way. Why can't I tell that to my sons too? I don't think law supports the oppressors. I think, like Natalie said, there's some loopholes, and we need to support them as a community. So I would say to young people and to women, galvanize yourselves, come together as communities, go to your local NGOs, go to your local churches, call them out, say to them, listen, there was abuse here, and I want you as my pastor to come with me, and together we'll make it happen. And seek out your ministers, tweet them. You know, we have digital systems now that allow for you to say, hey, listen, why is the regulation around sexual violence still so poor? Why are you not showing up for us? And they'll listen because you're calling them out.